Hi everybody! In this video, I'm going to talk about how to make questions using subjective pronouns and be verbs. Okay, so let's take a look at the board. So this example sentence says, I'm a student. Okay, remember I'm is just a contraction for I am. Okay, so I'm a student. I am a student. They mean the same thing. Now, when we want to make a question, we just have to make a simple change. It's very easy. All you have to do is put the be verb in the front. Okay? So, am I a student? Am I a student? The be verb comes in the front. Okay. I also want you to listen to my intonation. When I say it in a sentence, I'm a student. I'm a student. Okay, and then when I say it in a question, am I a student? Am I a student? Notice my intonation goes up for the question. Okay, now there are two possible answers for this question. Am I a student? The answers you can say are, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay, and no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Okay, we're going to look at some more examples. Please make sure you repeat after each example. Let's look at the first one. Am I? Am I a girl? Yes, I am. Am I a boy? No, I'm not. Am I a singer? Yes, I am. Am I a friend? No, I'm not. Now we're going to talk about he is and she is and how to use them in questions. So let's look at the sentence on the board. He's a doctor. Or she's a doctor. Remember, he's and she's are contractions for he is and she is. The be verb there is. So when we make a question, we have to move the be verb to the front. Okay, so we put is in the front. Is he a doctor? Is she a doctor? Okay, very easy. Just put the be verb in the front. Now I want you to listen to the intonation again. He's a doctor. Okay, the intonation is going down. Is he a doctor? In the question, again, the intonation goes up. Okay. Now, when you answer, there are several possible answers you can give. So, yes, he is. Or, yes, she is. Okay, that's easy. When you come to no, this is where it gets a little tricky, but you can do it. No, he isn't. Okay, isn't is a contraction for is not. Okay, no, he isn't. Or, no, she isn't. Okay, so you can use she isn't, he isn't. Another answer you can give is no, he's not. Or no, she's not. You already know this is a contraction for he is and she is. So no, he's not. No, she's not. Okay, so these are both common and they're both okay to use. Okay, so remember, we can give two different answers for no. All right, now we're going to look at some more examples. Please make sure you repeat after each example. Is he? Is she? Is he a man? Yes, he is. Is he a cowboy? No, he isn't. Is she a woman? Yes, she is. Is she a cowgirl? No, she's not. Now we're going to move on to it is, okay, and how to use that in a question. So let's look at the board. it's a dog. Okay, we have the contraction it's. Remember, it's is a contraction for it is. The be verb is. When we make a question, remember we have to put the be verb in the front. Is it a dog? Is it a dog? Okay, the intonation goes up for the question. Is it a dog? Okay, now there are several answers you can give. The first one is, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, when you say no, you can give two answers. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Remember, isn't is a contraction for is not. Okay? We can also say no, it's not. No, it's not. It's is a contraction for it is. Okay, so again, remember we have these two answers for no, but they're both common and they're both okay to use when you say no. Okay, we're going to look at some more examples. Please make sure you follow and repeat after each one. Is it? Is it a book? Yes, it is. Is it a chair? No, it isn't. Is it a shoe? Yes, it is. Is it a car? No, it's not. Now we're going to move on to you are and put that in a question. Okay, on the board, the sentence says, you're a boy. Remember, your is a contraction for you are. The be verb is are. So we have to put that in the front of the question. Are you a boy? Are you a boy? Okay, when we answer, it's very simple. We can say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. Okay, we're going to look at some more examples. Please follow and repeat after each one. Are you? Are you a Korean? Yes, I am. Are you a clown? No, I'm not. Are you a nurse? Yes, I am. Are you a dancer? No, I'm not. Now, let's talk about we are and how to use that in a question. Okay, so the sentence here says, we're teachers. Okay, we're is a contraction for we are. So the be verb are goes in the front. Are we teachers? Are we teachers? Okay, when we answer, we can say several things. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Or, no, we aren't. Listen, aren't. No, we aren't. Aren't is a contraction for are not. Or we can say, no, we're not. No, we're not. And you know that we're is a contraction for we are. Okay, we're going to look at some more examples. Please repeat after each one. Are we? Are we boys? Yes, we are. Are we girls? No, we're not. Are we friends? Yes, we are. Are we pro gamers? No, we aren't. Now we're moving on to they are in a question. The sentence on the board says they're friends. Remember, there is a contraction for they are. The be verb are goes in the front of the question. Are they friends? Are they friends? Okay, now when we answer, we can say, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Or we can say, no, they aren't. No, they aren't. Aren't is a contraction for are not. The last thing we can say is no, they're not. No, they're not. There is a contraction for they are. These two answers for no are both correct and they're both common, so you can say either one. Okay, we're going to look at some more examples now. Please repeat after each example. Are they? Are they tourists? Yes, they are. Are they dogs? No, they aren't. Are they computers? Yes, they are. Are they birds? No, they're not. Okay, so in this lesson, we learned how to change a subjective pronoun and a be verb into a question. Remember, when you're making a question, you have to put the be verb in the beginning. Okay? All right, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.